Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our Adobe webinar today. So we are joined here by Susan Arbed, who will be discussing the new government offering from Adobe. So I'm now going to pass you over to Susan.
Great. So thank you, Bytes, for inviting me to the webinar and to explain the new program. I'm Suzanne. I look after government for UK and Ireland for the digital media product line, which is all of the desktop products such as Acrobat and Photoshop. What I'm going to cover today is a bit about the products that will be under the new agreement for government, which are Creative Cloud and Acrobat. I'll provide an overview around the ETLA licensing program. Then I'll go into a little bit more around what the Adobe All of Government ETLA agreement is. So we made some significant changes around the Creative Cloud over 2 years ago, and that was with the release of the subscription version of the product. So rather than having a new release every 16 to 18 months, we have moved to a subscription model, which means that we're now able to deliver innovation to our customers on a more frequent basis. And the expectation is that we can deliver updates to the product every quarter to you. So for government, there's some great benefits around moving to cloud, although there are also some challenges around deployment as well. So with the Creative Cloud, one of the things for government is being able to deploy the product in a secure network environment behind a firewall. And one of the challenges, especially for UK, has been getting access to this product. Under the enterprise version of Creative Cloud, you will be able to access the product and deploy that using a serial key option, which means that you can just package and verify the software one time before pushing that out to your end users, and it won't require end users to have any internet connectivity, and by default all of the cloud storage portion of that will be switched off. The enterprise version also offers you a second deployment option, and if you are quite innovative and you wish to move to that new model, what you will be able to do is to also deploy all of the products using your internal IDs. So you'll be able to use user IDs and have a dashboard to view who has what product within the organization without, once again, having any internet connectivity requirement from your end users. So what it provides IT division with is that you will have a centralized view of packaging, deploying, and then managing all of your creative users in your complex IT environment. Acrobat is also one of the products that will be available under the new Adobe Government Agreement. Under the new agreement, you will have access to the latest version of all of your Acrobat products for your site. It doesn't mean that you have to deploy the latest version. What that means is that within any point in time during the agreement, you are entitled to the latest version, and you can choose to deploy one common version, whether it's the latest Acrobat 11 or a prior version, and maintain that standard across your IT environment. So I explained a little bit about the ETLA program itself. It is a premium licensing program. It's a 3-year subscription agreement. It is a predictable spend over the 3 years, as in it offers you one payment every year rather than having to pay for the software on an ongoing basis as and when requirements come up, which is how traditionally you've had to manage our products. The price is locked in for 3 years. So you know at the beginning of the agreement for the volume that you've committed, that price is now locked in for you and will protect you against any price increase or inflation. It's one agreement, so it simplifies all of your licensing management. What that means is it will give you one overview of all of the products that are deployed within your environment. And you can refer to that agreement anytime you need to get an entitlement view of what you have used in your environment. We do have the main agreement that has been signed by Crown Commercial Services. So what it means for end users in government is that you don't need to sign up for individual agreement or sign up for individual terms and conditions. Those have already been pre-agreed for. All you need to do is review your estate, work out the number of users of the products you have, and what devices you want to deploy the products to. So under a standard enterprise agreement, you have an annual true-up date at the anniversary. The anniversary date is simply the first year of every annual increment within the 3-year period, where you can then true up for additional users on top of your initial buy-in. All users on the program will have access to the latest version, and it will be a software as a service option, so you're moving to an OpEx model rather than CapEx. It also includes the equivalent of what was gold support under previous programs. This is not paid for, but is inclusive under an ETLA as an additional benefit for you. So what it means is it's not the general customer support line that you're calling, but it is enterprise support. If you have any issues or questions around deployment or management of the licensing in your IT environment, you can get in touch with the support line specifically for enterprise. And it also extends to your end users. So if you have a user of the Creative Suite product who wants some assistance around the workflow or specific usage of features on Photoshop or InDesign or any creative product, they can also get in touch with Enterprise, book in a half-hour consultation so that they can maximize their usage of the new products. So the support is inclusive of IT as well as end users. This is a bit about the ETLA agreement specifically for government. So as I mentioned, we have signed an agreement with, or come to an agreement with Crown Commercial Services. So under a memorandum of understanding, we have a pricing locked in for all of government that you can leverage. And for the first time, that means everyone will be able to access the standard ETLA program that we have on offer. So what it is a customized term licensing program. It gives you specific discounts per creative, Acrobat, or print publishing products. The threshold for entry into that program has now been reduced so that government customers can also access all of the benefits under an ETLA. And it's a standard program that's going to run until the 30th of March 2018. So it's one simple agreement. There are a few additional benefits under the Adobe All of Government ETLA. So the pricing for all of government has been set if you wish to enter a standard ETLA program. You will be rewarded for the volume that you purchase in the initial buy-in. So what's recommended is that you review the number of users or deployments that you have on your IT estate, and that will let you know how many units or users that you will want to transition to the program. So if you have been considering any upgrades, for example, you might have an internal project where you are planning to deploy Windows 7 and you've been considering upgrading on your Acrobat licensing, you can use that opportunity to review the pricing structure under the All of Government ETLA, and that will allow you to consolidate all of the licensing on your estate and transition to that program. That volume that you commit at the beginning of the agreement will then lock in your discount for the the next 3-year duration, and we'll offer you the best discount. So have a look at what you have now. If you can transition your whole estate, you'll benefit from that. For any customers moving to the all-of-government ETLA, we are offering additional services to help you make that transition. One of the services that we will be offering is we'll be providing you with assistance if you want to do a self-assessment at the same time. So while you're going through the process of reviewing what units or licenses you have deployed, if you wish to go that one step further and then formally share that information with your partner, and who will then share that with Adobe, our licensing team can then provide you with a comparison report which will show you what your entitlement is, what you have deployed, and that will be your baseline. It will give you an accurate number to transition to the program, and it will then also give you a 12-month audit-free period after you've made that transition. So you've automatically drawn a line in the sand and said you're moving from the historical licensing model to the new Adobe all-of-government agreement, and you can just use that one agreement going forward to manage all of your desktop licensing. So as I mentioned, discounts for upgrade and new purchasing, please work with Bytes around your licensing and pricing structure, and they can help you show you any comparisons that you might want to look at with alternative programs as well. And it will be simplified budgeting as well. So as mentioned, after you've made the initial transition, if you have additional users that need to access the product during the agreement, you would then just true up on an annual basis. Under the Adobe all-of-government ETLA, it is customized, so anytime within 2015, we do also have offerings to customers who may want to true up at an earlier date before the traditional annual true-up period. Again, please work with Bytes if you want to go into more details around that option. Because it is a standard program for all of government that will run until 2018, we are having 4 intakes in 2015 if you wish to join the program. So the intake dates for the program will be March, June, September, and November. So if you wish to join in March, please align once again with your partner, work out what the user requirements are, and then finalize that requirement and purchase order back to Bytes before or on the 17th of March. Once you've committed to that agreement, you will then be delivered the product in April. So in the first or second week of April, you will then have access to the serial key through the licensing web portal, and then we can also set up a time to help you with enablement from the enterprise support team. And the enablement will now help you with the deployment aspect of the new product, how to package that, how to best deploy that in your IT environment. If you're not able to meet the deadlines, please be aware, because it is a structured agreement, you may need to wait till the next intake. So if you do have a particular project milestone that you need to reach for your desktop applications and they need to be deployed within a certain time frame, please try and keep in mind these intake dates, as typically the product will then be deployed or you will receive access to the products around 2 to 4 weeks after you've submitted your requirements to your partner. This is an overview of the pricing structure under the new agreement for all of government. On the left, there's a comparison under the standard licensing programs that are available to government now. So at the moment, we still have perpetual offering for some of the desktop products, which is Acrobat and print publishing. This is what you would typically pay for a new license for Acrobat or print publishing. All of the creative licenses, as I mentioned, have moved to a subscription, and for government there's only one package which you can currently buy, and it's not a customized individual product. Under the new ETLA agreement, the prices here are per annum. For Acrobat, it's still per annum per device. And the prices here are for new and for upgrade of licensing. So what that means is we are taking into consideration your historical investment with Adobe. So any assets that you've purchased over the last few years, we will take into consideration and then apply an upgrade cost for you. So that cost would then be locked in for 3 years. So if you're upgrading from version 10 of Acrobat because you had purchased that into the new agreement, your cost for that device would be £20 per annum, and that £20 would be locked in for 3 years. If you're moving to the new program and you have additional requirements or you don't have any assets to upgrade from, then your price would be £40 per device per annum for 3, which is then locked in for 3 years for Acrobat Standard. On the creative side, we have the offering to customize that. So that means instead of buying the full Creative Cloud for Enterprise package, you can pick and choose individual products within the whole suite that would be better suited for use in your environment. So for single apps, your maximum end user price would be £134 per annum, or you might choose one of the Creative Suite package options instead. And then the pricing we have on offer there as well for print publishing per annum. So once you've worked out your requirements, you can obviously apply these pricing structures to it or work with Bytes to work out what that will look like for you. There's quite some considerable savings as well. Finally, this is the last slide. What I have provided here is just an overview of a comparison. So it's an overview of what it would look like if you had traditionally purchased under our perpetual TLP or CLP programs, just to give you an idea of the discounts that you can access under the new subscription. So if, for example, you had 100 Acrobat licenses that you purchased as new, plus 250 Acrobat licenses that you purchased as an upgrade, you might have invested upfront £33,000 on software. So you then have that one version which you might typically use for 2 to 3 years. You may skip an upgrade, in which case within a 3-year time frame you may have a software refresh, and then typically what we've seen is customers will then go ahead and purchase licensing from new because they're not eligible for an upgrade. In which case, over a 3 to 4 year period, you might have actually invested £86,000 into software, but we're also aware that you've invested that amount and not necessarily had access to the latest version or been able to manage one standard version across your environment. If you're moving to the Adobe All of Government agreement, one of the great benefits is obviously the pricing structure. It's significantly discounted to help you transition to the new licensing model. So not only will you access a discount, so under the new program you may only pay £9,000 per annum for 3 years, and then at the end of that 3-year term you've only paid £27,000, but the benefit to you is that during that 3-year time frame you also have had access to the latest version of all the products that you've covered under the agreement, which means what you can do is maintain one common standard in your environment, reduce any support or deployment or packaging costs that you may have associated with the various versions that you used to support. In addition to that, you also have access to all of the Tier 3 support and onboarding assistance that you'll get from our enterprise team. So the support is now inclusive under a subscription agreement, and it's not an additional cost outside of what you would have typically paid. So we hope we're offering you some significant discounts and benefits by moving to the subscription model, and that you can take advantage for this. We do have a few promotions coming up which you can discuss with Bytes if you are planning to join in March. If you're joining in the later date, please again work with Bytes to work out the best solution for you or plan to move to the program. And if you need additional support, Adobe is also supporting the partners on this. I hope that made sense and is going to be of benefit to everyone. Thank you.